everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be diving into a few new products that I picked up from Dior recently. Before we jump into it, I wanted to quickly mention I am using a new lens. So it's technically not a new lens, but okay, little bit of truth here. I've had this lens for almost 2 years. I bought it when I bought my camera. Never could figure out how to use the lens. Couldn't figure it out. Didn't know how to do it, so I just wasn't using it. I was just using the lens that came with the camera. It just so happens it pays to have super smart friends. So I was on Marco Polo with my friend Jenna Fraze. You guys know Jenna, she's amazing. And we were chatting back and forth as we always are. I was explaining to her that I have this lens and I don't know how to use it. It was kind of ridiculous because it was a very easy fix that I just could not understand for some reason. And she was like, oh, put that there and then put that there and then put that there. And I was like, wait, but it doesn't go in there. It doesn't fit in there. Long story short, that girl had it figured out quick. So here we are. I'm using a new lens and I am so curious to hear your guys' thoughts. I like how the background is more blurry. It feels a little bit more professional. So I'm really grateful to Jenna for helping me figure this out. So she is thebomb.com. It pays to have smart friends, especially friends that understands this kind of stuff, because I don't understand any of it. I wing it, you guys, because I don't know nothing about cameras. I know nothing about mics. I know nothing about lighting. Like, this is not my forte. I just love playing in makeup, and I just have to kind of the other stuff, I just have to figure it out along the way. So I appreciate Jenna for helping me. Let me know if you guys like this quality. I'm so curious to hear your thoughts. Okay, and good or bad, you guys know I love constructive criticism, so give it to me straight. You guys know I like to hear it straight. I am getting a new microphone. It'll be here tomorrow. So the next video, I'll have a new mic. Okay. Enough about my incompetence when it comes to filming and equipment and all that. Let's jump into what we're actually talking about today. Dior launched their 2022 summer collection. It's the Dior Riveria. It's like one word, Dior Riveria. So we have two new Quints. We have Riveria and Bayadere, which I actually picked up the Bayadere palette, so I will be featuring it in this video. They also launched two new highlighters in the collection. They have Nude Riviera and Pink Riviera, but I didn't get the highlighters because I got last year's highlighters, and I have a lot of highlighters, so I just did not pick up any of the highlighters. They look really pretty though. Dior does make really pretty highlighters. They're super soft, super subtle, but give a gorgeous glow to the skin. They also launched 3 new shades in nail polish, which all the nail polishes look really pretty, but I get my nails done professionally from my nail girl. And if I do my toes, I normally use gel polish, and then I have a little tiny light that I set the polish with. So I normally don't buy a lot of nail polishes, so I didn't pick up any of the nail polishes. They also launched a new formula in the Addict lip tint, so I picked up 2 shades in those. I have them here, and I have a lot to say. I'm actually wearing the 251 Natural Peach. Now, I have the original, so I will kind of be sharing my thoughts on the new formula versus the old formula. Now, it also came with some limited edition bronzers, which I didn't pick those up. I have a lot of bronzers. I really didn't feel like I needed any bronzers. Kind of the same reason why I didn't get any of the highlighters. They do have them in case you're interested. And Dior has a great bronzer formula as well. They also came out with a few new shades of the lip glow oils. Now, during the time that they were launching the Riviera 2022 summer collection, they also launched a limited edition velvet formula in their Quints. They have 5 different color combinations available on the website. And I picked up the shade Coral Paisley. So this is what Coral Paisley looks like. And I'm going to be swatching that palette, kind of giving you my thoughts on it, along with swatching the Bayadere palette and kind of giving you my thoughts on that palette as well. So let's go ahead and jump into the application and kind of playing around and trying on the new eyeshadow Quints that I picked up. Then we'll jump into the new lip tattoo formula. And then we're going to get into the swatches, and I will swatch those 2 Quints and also try to find comparisons in my collection and find palettes that might be similar to that. And then I will get into my final thoughts. So I will see you guys then. Okay, let's go ahead and jump into these new Quints from Dior. So I have one of the 2 palettes from the Riviera 2022 summer collection. And this one is Bayadere. This is a really pretty palette, and I love the embossing on it, Now, I thought that Riviera was really beautiful, but the reason why I decided to grab this one is simply because of this shade right here. If you guys have been with me for a minute, you know I love peachy tones, and I especially love peachy tones in the summer. So this I just thought would be so beautiful, and I'm kind of excited to kind of pair these shades together. And I think it's a really beautiful Quint. I do. So this is the one of the two Quints that I got from the summer collection. And then they launched new velvet Quints. So based on the website, these are limited edition, and they're supposed to be kind of a velvety, creamy powder type. They are a high color creamy powder, and they're supposed to be long wear. The interesting thing about this velvety matte palette is that the actual palette itself is matte. So if you guys are familiar with their Quints, they always have a shiny casing. This is a matte casing. This is what it looks like. I just love these color combinations. And again, I bought it because of the peach. So let's zoom in on it so you guys can see what this looks like. So beautiful, right? So this one is Bayadere, and you can see the embossing here. These colors would go so beautiful together. You could create some beautiful eye looks with these two palettes. I'm gonna start with the Bayadere and apply it on this side, but I wanna first go into that peachy shade because I bought the palette for that shade. I wanna kind of do the look around that shade. So I'm gonna dip my brush into it. This is my Smith 253, and I'm gonna place that on the lid. Now this is going on dry. And that's a very soft shimmer. It really is. It's got a very pretty soft texture to it. It's really a pretty color. You know, Dior has very, very soft shimmers, especially in their Quints. They are very, very effortless, not super sparkly. They don't have a lot of chunk to them. They're just super sophisticated. They're just kind of known for that type of formula, and I really appreciate that about their formula. I also really love that you can use these in the crease. There's a lot of shimmers that you just can't put in the crease because they just don't blend very well, but these blend beautifully in the crease, and they're so effortless, and they kind of give that shine to the crease, but without being too much. And I've always really enjoyed that about the Quints. Now, I've not always enjoyed every Quint I've had. Some of them I've really, really loved, and then some of them I'm like, yeah, no, that's kind of a no-go. So I'm gonna go into this dark shade right here. And I'm just gonna put this here on the outer corner. Lots of pigment, as you can see. Like, it's got quite a bit of pigment. So I'm going to go into this shade right here with a blending brush. I'm going to put that like right in the crease and then kind of use it to blend that shade out. I'm going to grab that brush I was using and I'm going to go into this shade, and I'm going to bring it like right here where it kind of connects to the dark and the peachy color. It's a very warm palette. It's kind of a warm bronzy type. It's really pretty. Okay, I'm gonna go into this shade right here. I'm gonna bring that right here on the center, kind of going right in the middle. I always like that like center lid to kind of have a little bit of dimension. But I don't really have much fallout. Other than cleaning up this outer corner, I don't have any fallout. So this palette, it blends beautifully. You don't get any fallout. Okay. So I went ahead and threw on some concealer. So I'm going to go into this shade. I'm going to just kind of smoke that into the lower lash line. My dogs are kind of walking around and making a lot of noise. I apologize, but they're like my little companions here when I'm filming. They're always just snuggled up here on the rug around me or over there by the doors, resting, having doggy dreams. Like, yeah, it is what it is. I'm going to take a flat tipped brush. I'm going to go into this shade. I am going to focus that right here on the outer corner. And I'm also going to put that up here on the upper lash line just to add a little bit more of that definition. Let's see what this shade would look like on the inner corner. I haven't been doing inner corner highlights very often recently, but it might be fun to try it. So I'm gonna take a small brush and I'm gonna go into this shade and stick it like right here. Maybe do a little bit of brow bone highlight too, right? No, why not? Okay, so I went ahead and threw on a lash, and this is a fine. So I went ahead and threw on a lash, and this is a really pretty eye look. It's just kind of soft, very easy, wearable, kind of everyday, and I like the way it turned out. I think it's really pretty, and I love that peachy shade on the lid. It's super pretty. So that's it for the look using the Bayadere, I'm never going to be able to say that right, the Bayadere palette. Let's go ahead and jump into the next palette. Let's go ahead and jump into the next look, and I am going to be using the Velvet palette. So this one is called the Coral Paisley, and I'm excited to try this. I am. They feel really buttery. Like that center shade feels super buttery. Look at those two swatches. That was just going over at once. Kind of a pretty color combination. I'm kind of excited. I'm going to first start with the middle shade right here. And I'm basically going to put that all over the lid. And that's actually a really pretty color, kind of on its own, right? So it's kind of that perfect peachy beige tone. I'm going to take this small pencil and I'm going to go into this peachy shade. Pencil. I'm going to take the small brush and I'm going to go right. Ooh, look how much pigment that shade has. Kind of using it as the base color on the inner and outer, and then like right here on the kind of connecting them in the center, because then I'm going to wipe the brush off and I'm going to go into the dark shade. I need a different brush. I'm going to use the E5 from Makeup by Mario. I'm going to go into that dark shade and I'm going to softly kind of build up the inner and the outer corner over top of that peachy shade. Now I'm just going to kind of buff out these edges. I'm going to leave that there for a minute and I'm going to go into this shade. It has a tiny bit of sparkle and I'm going to place that like right here on the center. Let me apply it with another brush. For some reason, I can't get that peachy shade to lay down. This shade right here. So it's a little bit on the powdery side. So once you put it down, if you even blend it a little bit, so this is what it looks like. If you even start blending it a little bit, it kind of blends away. So I'm kind of struggling to get that shade to kind of stay put. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to put this all over the center, because that peachy shade just does not want to stay put. It's just a little bit on the powdery side and I'm just not a fan of it. And I feel like I've put so much on that I'm like losing it now. It's almost like, I almost feel like I need to kind of wipe the center of my lid and kind of start over, because I've built it and built it and built it. So here's the swatch. And if you even blended it a little bit, it just blends away. It's really quite powdery. And then you just can't see it, like it's gone, right? I don't know what the deal is with it, but it's not my favorite texture. And like I said, I feel like I need to kind of wipe that off, because I feel like it's just really built up because I put so much on it. So I'm just gonna put a little bit of my NARS concealer back on. Now, try this again. So I kind of hopefully remedied it. I'm going to go into this shade. I'm going to put that like right there on the center. Okay, so that worked better. Kind of having that base underneath it really helps it to pop. Now I'm going to go into that light shade and just kind of place it like right there. Didn't quite turn out like I was hoping it would. It's okay, but I feel like it's just a little bit weak and I don't love that shade. It's not my favorite shade. All right, so I went ahead and put some concealer on. I am going to go into this shade first on the lower lash line just to see if I can kind of brighten it up and also see what it looks like. Oh yeah, see how bright that orange is? That is a bright pigmented orange, you guys. So I'm going to go into the middle shade. I'm going to bring the middle shade like right over top of it. And now I'm going to go into the dark shade. Okay, so I'm back. I just went ahead and threw on the other lash. And look, I don't love this eyeshadow look. I don't love the way that it turned out. I have quite a few thoughts on it. I'm definitely going to save most of that for my final thoughts. Now that we've made it through the palettes, let's go ahead and jump into the two lippies that I picked up. Let's go ahead and jump into the two new shades that I got in the Dior Addict lip tint. So they had several shades. A few of them had sold out by the time I was buying, but that's okay. So I picked up the shade 651 Natural Rose, and I have Natural Peach. What do you guys expect? It's summer, it's spring, I'm all about peach. So I have an original lip tattoo. This is a long wear colored tint. This one is not super colorful. It's just kind of exactly what it says it is. It's just more of a tint. And so you kind of build it up. This one I have in the shade, I can't read the bottom, hold on. 321. So that's what that shade looks like. And you kind of have to build it like 2 or 3 times to kind of get that pigment. It's not a bad lip tint. It's not like my all-time favorite. It's a decent formula. So I was kind of excited when I heard that they were coming out with a new formula. This is the old, it has Dior written here. And then this is the new style. Ooh, this is a nice formula. That's the Natural Peach. That is so much, that's got so much more pigment than the original. So much more pigment. And I can actually feel it drying and setting on my hand. So I better wipe that off quick. Let me swatch the old one next to the new Natural Rose. Oh yeah, you can see an instant difference. So this is the old formula and this is the new formula. You can see right away just how much pigment that has versus the old formula. You can see on the old formula, it's kind of, you can see my skin through it, but you can see the opacity in the new one. That is fabulous. Oh, I'm excited to try these. So I'm going to go in with the peach one because I'm all about peach. Can't help myself. Let's go in with one coat first. I'm going to let that dry for a minute because that's kind of the tip. When you put the first coat on, you got to give it time to dry and set down before you go in with the second coat. If you want to layer it. Now, you don't really have to layer this. Like, you can see it brought some color to the lip, but I want to layer it. So in order to layer it, you got to let it dry. I'm going to go in with the second coat. Okay, so that's built up 3 times. You can see that it still has the shine, which is what I do really like about the Dior lip tints, is that they do have kind of that shine. What I'm noticing right off the bat from the old formula to the new formula is it just has more pigment, which is a really good thing because I do feel like that's what the old original formula was missing, is it just needed a little bit more pigment. And this is just beautiful. Like, absolutely loving this. Okay, so this is the final look using these new products from Dior. Let's go ahead and jump into the swatches. I'm gonna swatch these 2 palettes and I'll also compare them to a few palettes that I might find similar to these, and then I will get into my final thoughts. So I will see you guys then. I do hope that those swatches and comparisons were helpful. I didn't really have a lot of palettes to compare them to, but I do hope that those images were helpful. Let me go ahead and get into my final thoughts. Okay, so I want to first kind of get the lip tints out of the way, and then we'll jump into the Quints. So I love this new formula. This new formula is phenomenal, and I'm kind of wanting to get a few more shades. The one shade that I wanted to get is sold out, so I might wait for that one to come back into stock. But this is a great lip tint formula. It's much more pigmented than the original, and it's exactly what the original kind of was missing. Like I mentioned, it just has much more opacity, and they just build so much better. I also like using these as a base, especially if I'm wearing like a hydrating lip balm or like a lip cheek from Chantecaille or something like that. I like using these as a base because as the lip cheeks and stuff kind of wear off, I still have something on the lip. So if you guys were curious about these are great. Love them. Like 5 out of 5. Love them. Okay, let's jump into the Quints really fast. I really love the Bayadere Quint. This is a gorgeous Quint. This is a beautiful, easy, effortless formula. It's just like their other formulas, super easy to use. There's not one shade in here that's a dud, and they all blend beautifully. Just a great palette. I don't feel like it's fully necessary, right? So if you have something similar to this, you don't necessarily need to run out and grab it. But if it was on your radar and you were kind of thinking maybe you might want to get it, this is a great one. I really like this. I don't really have anything negative to say about this one. This is a good palette. Now, the Velvet palette, on the other hand, I'm not a super huge fan of. Here's the thing. I like these mattes down here, but these up here are just too powdery. You saw the struggle that I had, and as I was kind of swatching and playing with this palette, there is definitely that powdery base to these top shades in particular, where they just kind of like fly away. Like as soon as you put it down and then you go to blend it out, it just kind of blows away. It's one of those that blends away very easily. Not my favorite formula. Now the mattes, these 3 mattes are great. They're great. I don't have anything negative to say about the 3 mattes. It's these 2 top shades up here that I'm not a super fan of. And I'm always the type of person that when you're paying the money that you do for a palette with 5 shadows in it, you need every shade to count. You need every shade to be good. So for me, this one's a pass because not every shade is good. Here's the thing on the flip side of that though. So if this is a little bit too much sparkle for you, so if you're someone that doesn't like a lot of shine, so if this is even a little bit too much shine for you, you actually might like these up here. So if you're somebody that likes just a very, very light intense on the eye, this might be a perfect palette for you, but I don't feel like this is gonna work for everyone. And for me personally, these 2 shades right here for me just don't have enough intensity and they just blend away too easily. But a lot of people like that low intensity look. So it's gonna depend on what you like, but just for me on a personal level, this is not my favorite. So those are my overall thoughts. Sound off down below in the comment section. How many of you guys have picked up any of the products that I discussed today? Or have you picked up any of the other products from the Riviera collection? I'm so curious to hear your thoughts. Sound off down below. Thank you so much for hanging out with me in today's video. I hope you guys all have a wonderful day, and I will see you guys all in my next video. Love you. Bye.